This Gaur Purnima festival, though it was started in our movement in 75, it was happening for nearly more than 200 years. The devotees will visit Mayapur, Navadvip Dham, do parikramas. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur took the best parikramas. He had the deities on elephant. There were two elephants. He would put the deities on one elephant and he himself will be carried by the other elephant. And the goswamis in Navadvip, they engaged some gundas to throw stones at his procession, at his parikrama. Because they were telling all this elephant and cars and what is he doing? We are supposed to be vairagis. In the Indian religious area, if you tell if they ask you what mantra you are chanting, and if you said, I am chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, then they will say, oh, you are vairagi. Vairagi means people who are very renunciated. So this mantra is identified by common religious people as the mantra chanted by the vairagis. That means they wear only copines, they eat by their hands, they keep no pots, they sleep under the tree. So some Goswamis were following that principle. So we are identified, Hare Krishna chanters, we are identified by the name Vairagis, or of late we are identified as beggars. Because in Bengal, the system is a man will come with a kartal and stand in front of your house. Then he will sing, Hare Krishna, Hare. When he sees you bringing rice, he will stop. And he will open his bag, take the rice and go to the next house. And again he will start. But his Mahamantra he will never complete. Because every time he starts singing, it's so horrible, so people will bring rice quickly. It's neither devotion nor music. Nobody can listen to it. So he will stop it halfway through and then get the rice. And then his Mahamantra will never complete. So Vaishnav, of late in Bengal, Vaishnav means a beggar. So I have heard people talking like this. This man had 3 children. One son died in malaria. Another son joined the military. And the third one became a Vaishnava. With that expression. Means he has become a useless person. Vaishnava means totally useless. This is a Vairagi. He has no creative potential. He is just totally useless. He just begs and lives. And for begging, he uses the name of Harinam. This has become the idea in Bengal at least. So, this Harinam and Vairagya were so misunderstood. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he visited Vrindavan with his parikram, he came in a Chevrolet car and he had a driver with a uniform driving and Bhaktisiddhanta in the back, sitting like that, with his Siddhanta. So as he arrived in Ramayana, that we have our temple now, Ramayana was famous for the Babajis. Bogal Ashram was just being built at that time. So around Bogal Ashram there were so many Babajis. So all these Babajis came there and they looked at this car. And then the driver got down and he opened the door and then the Swamiji came out with his stick. Then they came to him and he said, what are you doing? You are having Gaudiya Vaishnava Tilak and you are a Tridanti sannyasi. And from your face we can see you are a Naistik Brahmachari. And what you are sitting inside this car and you have a driver. And he has uniform too. So he said, this is just to teach you what is renunciation. That was his answer. I have come to teach the Goswamis what is renunciation. Then he gave on the spot a lecture on Yukta Vairagya. That everything utilized for the service of Krishna. This is our Vairagya. He was the first person to build marble palace for sannyasis to stay, to worship the deities. So in this way, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had his parikram in this road. This road is known as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Marg. When we had the first flood, after our temple came into construction here, we had the first flood. Acharya Swami, he wrote to Prabhupada telling that we are saved by the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati road. So then Prabhupada wrote back telling, it is always the road of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati that has saved us. Of course, this year Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati road decided to bring the flood inside. So we had 18 feet water here. Everything was submerged. 3 acres of cauliflower was gone. And so much Rajanigamdha flowers. And we had a flood, but the flood was more ecstatic preaching. Because we had 1,000 people of the local area who took shelter in our long building. And they were fed 3 times a day with Govind Bhog rice. Which they see only when some marriage is there, they will see that thin rice. Otherwise they eat the fat rice. And they had sabjis and then they couldn't go anywhere because so much water around. And all that they see is devotees. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So they had no escape. They couldn't jump in the Ganges. That's possible. Not Ganges. Yeah, Ganges was right here. Ganges all over. From this side, any distance that you can see, even with a telescope, there was only Ganges. It's all over here. So then they had no escape. Every time they walked to the bathroom, they some of them were closing their ears, but then slowly they got used to it, and they were also doing Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And they knew that if they come with a japa, if they chant Hare Krishna, they got more rice and more sabji. They chanted a lot. Even an old man in the long building, he was telling me about how all this house I have and all my family, it is all simply illusion. The only truth is Hare Krishna temple. So that every time flood comes, it is the Hare Krishna temple that is giving us shelter. So he said, ISKCON is the absolute truth. Everything else is just Maya. He had a little Brahmavad in his head. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati's Parikram were criticized by some fanatic Vaishnavas that is too opulent and why elephant? You're not supposed to. First he was having the deity on the elephant, first day. The second day he himself sat on the elephant, another elephant. And he was coming. And that is when he found out that the Gundas were hiding, because he was on the elephant and he could see. They were hiding behind the dharamsalas and they were throwing stones. But he completed his parikram very nicely. So Mayapur Dham is very famous for his parikramas, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati made it more famous by his elephant parikrama. And ISKCON made it more famous by all the different colors of the bodies chanting Jai Satchidanand Ki Jai, which was the prediction of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So when we come for this parikram, it is not we go to see some buildings and some old broken houses and some old banyan trees. We are supposed to hear the pastimes of the devotees and of the Lord. This is the main purpose of this parikram. This Mayapur parikrama and Vrindavan parikrama has got 2 aspects. One aspect is the aspect of religion, which is pilgrimage. And another aspect is the aspect of spiritual life, which is Shravan, hearing. So, there is so much ample opportunity during this festival for hearing Krishna Katha from various devotees who are coming from all over the world. So we must utilize this festival for always hearing and talking. Not some hearing some talking, some politics, but hearing and talking some Krishna Katha, some pastimes of the Lord. These pastimes of the Lord and His devotees, they are just like a cool breeze. We are cut by the wounds of materialistic conception in this world, and we are suffering. And our endeavors to adjust the situation by our intelligence, by our education, and various materialistic methods, we simply make the wound more and more horrible, more and more painful. So then we are sitting there, we don't know why I'm suffering. Then a gentle breeze comes over the wound and you feel relieved. And this breeze is the pastimes of the Lord. So anyone who is suffering in his heart by the materialistic conception of life, the only medicine, this is not my wonderful poetical statement, it's only a translation of a verse. This is King Kulasekara's verse in Mukundamala. He said that, "Oh foolish conditioned souls, whose heart is completely wounded by this materialistic conception of life, why don't you take this beautiful breeze, sweet breeze coming, by hearing the pastimes of Lord Sri Ramachandra?" And then he said that if at all you want some medicine for your wound, you first take this breeze. And then he said, this is the pastimes of Ramachandra, this is the breeze. And then what is the medicine? The medicine is Pibamana Sri Krishna Divya Ausadam. Divya Ausadam. Divya means transcendental. Ausadam means medicine. Mana means mind. And Piba means drink. He is telling, oh my mind, why don't you drink this medicine? What medicine? The medicine of the transcendental Krishna Ausadam. Krishna is a medicine. Krishna is tonic. Prabhupada said Krishna's name is tonic and medicine combined together, 2 in 1. It cures the disease and it gives you more health so that you can exist spiritually. So Krishna Nam must be heard and chanted and drunk in great desire for curing our disease. And the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra will be a nice breeze on top of the wound. So this year we have combined both. We got Ramachandra's pastimes, and we got the wonderful chanting of Hare Krishna and Nitai Gaur, and going all the way to the Navadvip area. 14 crosses, starting from Underdvip, is spiritual world. I'm not telling it because I'm a resident of Mayapur. It is a Navadvip Mahatmya. This is the transcendental world. When the dissolution comes, partial dissolution, all the worlds are submerged in water. And there is the story in Padma Puran that Markandeya, he was floating in the dissolution water. But he saw there was a tract of land which was not dissolved in water. And he was wondering, what is this? Everything is dissolved. Swargaloka is dissolved. Sutala, Vitala, Patala, everything is dissolved. It's one piece of land floating like a gem. What is this land? And how come it is shining? So he swam across the dissolution water and caught hold of one side of the land. And then he looked up in there. And he saw some trees and some birds. These birds were making some sound. He was listening to the sound. And they were chanting, Gaur, Gaur, Gaur. And he was thinking, what is this? Gaur, Gaur, Gaur. Even the birds are chanting Gaur, Gaur, Gaur. And while he was thinking like that, he knew, or he was seeing, he's already chanting it so many times. His Gaur is a very big intoxication. So as soon as you get to it, it is much worse than, what is your latest intoxication? Crack. That's what I heard, that's the latest one. This is worse than that. So once you hear Gaur, then you can't stop Gaur. And you go on chanting Gaur. And you don't know why you are chanting Gaur. You are asking everyone, why I am chanting Gaur, Gaur, Gaur? Why it's Gaur, 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 always Gaur, Gaur, Gaur? And then by the time you already chanted 15 times Gaur, Gaur, Gaur. This Gaur is such a combination, these two letters, Go and Ra. These wonderful transcendental bijas, seed letters. Technically, if we go and find, even in Ayurveda, this Gaur is used. They don't know, but this is Gauranga Mahaprabhu's name. For making certain medicines in Ayurveda, they have to chant Gaur and mix the medicine. They have to chant it lakhs, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs times. I met a doctor in Kerala, he's chanting Gaur, Gaur, and he's mixing it. He doesn't know who is the Gaur. He gave a picture of Gaur. He said, you're just chanting, you don't know, this is a person. He was very happy. So I was always thinking, who is this Gaur? Because he's not visible in Vedas and Puranas. He's hidden. It's not that easy to find him. So Markandeya also was well versed in Vedic knowledge. He said, what is this combination of syllables, Gaur? But while he was chanting, he saw his hearts were standing on end, tears were coming. He decided, whatever it is, whoever it is, I would see him. So he sat down and he started chanting Gaur. And then after a long, long time, he had the darshan of Nitai and Gaur. This is in Navadvip Mahatmya. This thing just happened across the river. Markandeya's satsang. Lord Shiva's satsang happened in Jagannath temple. Parvati came and chanted the name of Gaur. Lord Shiva was sitting meditating, and then Parvati came to offer worship. She saw Shiva's body was trembling. And she was saying, Shiva is not afraid of anyone. Why he is shivering? And the cold in Kailash he is used to that cold. There's always snow there. Why is he shivering? So she thought that this must be something else. She thought, I will ask him later. In the meantime, she also saw his lips were clearing like this, and some sound came out. Then close by, she was listening. What is he doing? And she heard Gaur, Gaur. Then she said, what is this? Gaur. So she went to Nandi. She said, you know who is Gaur? So Nandi said, Gaur? I don't know, I know Gur. Gur means jaggery. Brown sheep. So bulls, they eat brown sheep. Nandi is a bull. So he said, I know Gur, I don't know any Gaur. He said, oh, then I have to wait till he opens his eyes. Then when Lord Shiva opened his eyes, the first thing was, Parvati was raising her hand like this. He said, what? You look like you have a question. Yes, I have a question. What is this? Gaur, Gaur, Gaur. And trembling, shivering. What is this? He said, what did you say? He said, Gaur. Oh, Gaur. He became unconscious. He said, oh my God, what did I do? At least he was starting. Now he is unconscious. So then Nandi came and did his head massage, and then Shiva came up again. And he said, what did you say? He said, Gaur. And then she held him. Hey, wait a minute. Don't become unconscious again. You tell me, what is this Gaur business? So then he said, Gaur. Oh, that is very sweet. Then he explained to her, what is Gaur? Then she said that I want to see this Gaur. I cannot stop one moment here. She was saying, wait, sometime we will see. What sometime? I'm going now. Tell me where to go and what to do. Oh, you want to see Gaur? Then I tell you one thing. You go to Navadvip. And how will I find Navadvip? Oh, that's very easy. When you walk through Navadvip, that you will see that every moving and non-moving object is always filled with ecstatic love of Krishna. So Parvati said, oh, wait. You're getting too poetic. Now, every moving and non-moving object is filled with ecstatic love. But what is this ecstatic love of Krishna? How will I know it? Then he said, oh, that's the problem. You cannot know what is ecstatic love of Krishna unless you get the mercy of God. And you cannot get the mercy of God unless you figure out the place which is Navadvip. And to find out the place Navadvip, you should know what is ecstatic love for Krishna is. And she said, this is a vicious circle. So you please come with me and you know what is ecstatic love of Krishna. So you show it to me. So then he had to come. He came and he showed her the Srimad-Bhagavatam. That was the area where Balaram killed a great demon. So Lord Shiva said, I cannot land there because once I touch that land, I will become unconscious for a yuga. So there is satchad with left. So Parvati said, no, I won't trouble your programs. You just be there and I would come here and I will practice sadhana. So she sat down and she was chanting, Gaur, 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 Gaur. And at one point when she was completely filled with ecstatic love for Gauranga, she saw this beautiful feet in front of her. And she was thinking, what is this feet? Well, it is dancing also. And then above the feet, then she found this golden color, Pidambara. And she immediately recognized it. I know this cloth. I have seen it before many times. This is what Krishna wears. So that is it. This is Krishna. Nobody told me before. And then she found that he was Krishna, but he was not Krishna. Krishna Varnam to Sat Krishnam. Then he had Nitai with him. And he had blue Pidambara. In this way they were both dancing. And wonderful sight. So Parvati, she fell down and paid obeisance. So the Simanta means the sparkling of hair on top of her head. So all that red kumkum, it fell on that place and the whole land became red. That is why it is known as Srimad-Bhagavatam. Anyway, since we are doing the parikrama, so we must know that all these wonderful stories, these are not stories, Somebody was announcing this morning, we deliberate on the secret pastimes of... These are not things to be deliberated actually, it's a wrong word to use. It's nothing to deliberate. These are absolute happenings which are still happening even today. Sriman Gaura Sundara, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that there is a very interesting story in this connection. Before Ramayana, I would like to tell you that. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati took to a chanting of Hare Krishna as a big yajna once. He left his house after Bhaktivinoda disappeared. Then he came in here to Antardvipa, and he was having one lota in his hand, and he had a gamsa, and his eyes were red because he never slept. Day and night he would sit there and he would chant Hare Krishna. So there was one friend of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He's younger to Bhaktivinoda, and Bhaktivinoda has told him that my son will organize the Gaudiya mission. So this man, he was a grihastha staying in Bagh Bazaar. He was very interested that how this Gaudiya mission will be organized, because there are 12 kinds of sahajiyas and pasandis filing the sampradaya. Alas and baulas and Gauranga Nagaris. And he was thinking that will be a wonderful miracle to be done. And he was thinking how it will happen. So he looked for Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati because he knew it was him who is going to organize the Gaudiya mission. But he was nowhere to be found. He said, this is wonderful. After praying to Lord Jagannath, a wonderful Mahatma came, and then he is now not to be found. And he will go trek this path. It was not like this at that time. This Baman Pokur was all covered with grass, darba grass, which grew like 7 feet, 8 feet. And the area of Janmastan was occupied by Muslims. It was known as Mayapur, not Mayapur. Maya is a Muslim name. So they named it after a Muslim saint. He died there in front of Jagannath temple. They have a small samadhi for it. So this was known by the name Mayapur. And this is the time this Grihastha came here. He was looking for Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So he asked some people over there, some farmers, have you ever seen a young, strong, well-built, tall, effulgent person who always chants the name of Krishna and goes? So they said, we have seen one person, but he is a madman. He is a madman. How do you say he is a madman? Because sometimes the first thing is that he uses the same lota for everything. He sometimes cooks in it, he eats in it, he bakes in it, he uses it for passing stool. He does everything with one lota. We have never seen some people like that here. Goswamis were they followed all his rituals. So then he also told that I have seen this man floating in the Ganges, looking in the sky like this. And he floats miles in the Ganges, like a dead body. And then suddenly he will get up. And sometime like walking over the Ganges, he will quickly swim across. And then we will see him holding a tree and he will be crying. So then after telling that he said, now what do you think? You think he is son? So then he said, that is the man I am looking for. You tell me where he is. So he said, well, it is difficult to say because one day he is here, another day he is there. But I can tell you where he takes back. This is the spot he takes back. So the man sat down there. He waited whole day, whole evening, next morning, next afternoon. And he was thinking, I'm not moving from here unless I see him. Next evening, next morning, he saw one figure running to the Ganges with hands like this and chanting, gold, gold, and he jumped into the Ganges. This man, he was a family man, he had to think twice before jumping into this Ganges here. Big flow and strong. He was thinking how to catch that, and he started floating again. Then he said, oh, what he said is true. And he was like this. And he was mumbling some words. And he was sweating, though he was in Ganges. So then after some time, he saw him running across with a lotus. So he ran behind him. He said, wait. Then he caught hold of him. He said, you remember me? I used to come to your house. He looked at him. Hare Krishna. So then he said, you are supposed to organize the Gaudiya mission. What are you doing with this lota and floating in the river? And the sahajiyas are spoiling the sampradaya. You are supposed to be doing this great task. He said, organizing what? Organizing Gaudiya mission. Sankirtan, preaching, Preaching. Preaching to who? You don't see the Panchatattva here? No Panchatattva. He couldn't see any Panchatattva. Saw a few Muslims walking around. And then he said, the Panchatattva are performing their kirtan eternally here. What I can preach? I'm going to chant. He ran away. Then this man came to the Ganges and he took a bath looking at the eastern side. When you have to relinquish something, you take a bath looking at the east 3 times. You give up something. So he gave up the idea of seeing the Gaudiya Math being organized. Because he is a lunatic person and he is seeing Panchatattva here already. So he is not going to do anything. In this way he got frustrated and he came back. And sometimes he used to sit down and think, how can that prediction go wrong? That Atmatattva, he is the man of God. He is sent by Krishna. What is it? Something that will happen. One day he heard a bell. So he came down in his staircase. He opened the door. And for the first time in Calcutta he saw a 3-dandi sannyasi. Shining shaved head, sannyasi top, dhoti, stick. Then he said, alright, Mr. Roy, I have come. So he said, who are you? You. Then first said his obeisance. Then he said, I'm so happy to see a Vaishnava sannyasi. A Srila Ramakrishna sannyasi is walking around with one stick. And I always take that every time I see them. In a day I have to take that 30 times. They will keep walking around here, though they do no preaching. They open schools and hospitals. So then he said, you don't know me? Son of Atmatattva. My name is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. He said, oh, when did you take sannyas? He said, I am Lord already. We have to organize the Gaudiya mission. I want to do the registration today 4 o'clock. You better get up now and start working. And then before the man got up to his house, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati got up. And we went in there, sat down and asked him, bring a paper, pen, and they started discussing. And then 4 o'clock they already conceived the course and registration rules, how to do the Gaudiya mission. And Gaudiya Math was registered. So this is how Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati started his great movement. And then, after he left, many sannyasis in the Gaudiya Math, they left here and there. There was one young man who was initiated by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. He was a temple commandant in the Gaudiya Math for a long time, 18 years like that. And he got very frustrated because after Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati left, there were so many things happening there. He didn't like it. He left. So he later on he became a Sanskrit scholar and he is in Cuttack in Orissa. I happened to meet him. He told me a story that when Prabhupada was a Grihastha in Sitakanta Banerjee Lane, number 4 Sitakanta Banerjee Lane in Calcutta, Prabhupada has rented a room upstairs, his house, for the Gaudiya Math. And there was the Gaudiya Math sannyasis and brahmacharis learning Harinamamrita Vyakaran from this man. And this was going on for a long time. And Prabhupada would come back after finishing his medical business and he has to finish his round. So he will go up the staircase and he will sit down in the staircase and chant Hare Krishna, finish his round. And this man is a Shastri. His name is Dola Govinda Shastri. He will be giving his Sanskrit classes. And after the Sanskrit class, he will come down and both of them will sit down and discuss the good old days of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So one such day, Dola Govinda Shastri, while explaining Sanskrit grammar, he came to explain that Bhakti Vinod Thakur told that this movement will spread all over the world. And then after telling that to the students, he started thinking in his mind, how is this going to happen? They are fighting for furniture. Already, even when Bhakti Siddhanta was there, they were fighting. So how is this going to happen? All over the world, Russia was the first word. This is very interesting. In Bhakti Vinod Thakur's prediction, the first word was Russia. He said Russia, England, France, and then he mentioned a few more countries. Russia was the first word. We're getting it lost, but that is the first word. So he said that, and Dola Govinda Shastri was very much in anxiety. He was thinking, I am telling this, that Bhakti Vinod told this, but I am doubting it. It's very bad for me. So he called Abhay, how is this? Can you tell me? How this will happen? So then Prabhupada was chanting. He was looking up and he said that, why Shastriji? Why you are doubting in the words of Bhakti Vinod Thakur? So he said, no, I'm not doubting, but I'm doubting and I can't say what it is. So all Shastris are like that. There are so many confusions. So then Prabhupada said to him that don't worry. By the time Prabhupada was walking down the staircase, and he looked up and told him, some fool who is surrendered to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati will do it. And then he walked down 2 more steps and he looked up again and he said, not you. If you had any doubt. Why waste time? Not you. And then he went out. And then Govind Shastri was completely shocked. He said, what is this man saying? Not me. I'm in the mud. And not me. He's a family man. Seems to be, maybe he will do it. Then he said, Abhay Babu? Money. That's the only thing he knows. All day money. If you talk anything about Bhagavatam, he will talk about money. That's all he was talking. Just money. He will go all the way to Madurai, South India, Trivandrum, make money. You know, Abhay Babu is very materialistic. Very religious, but very materialistic person. He's always thinking of finance only. How he will do it? Later, after so many years, one day Dol Govinda Shastri, now very old, walking in Katak in one of the streets, going to his Ravensha college. He looked this side and he saw a fat Western man, great Bhagavat Das, crossing the road. Bhagavat never cares for any signal. He just crosses the road because he's huge and big. So he was walking the road and he saw him and he went to him. He said, wait, who are you? You having Chika, you having Tulasi Mala? Who are you? Where are you coming from? And Bhagavat Das was having an address as a Marwadi to make him a member. So he won't see when Vishnu comes, because he knows Vishnu won't become a member. He said, no, I'm going. He said, wait, I don't want anything from you. I just want some information. Who is this person? Who is your guru? And how did you become Gaudiya Vaishnava? So he took a magazine out and said, you read this book. And you give me your address, I will see you later. He gave him his address. He took the book. And he opened the book. B to G. And then there was an article by Prabhupada, which lecture, which is printed as an article. On the top it was mentioned, yoga is not gymnastics. Saw that. He said, yoga is not gymnastics. And he closed the book and he said, that is Bhakti Vinod. And he ran across the road and caught Bhagavat again. And then he said, what are you doing? You are Bhakti Vinod. Bhakti. Yoga is not gymnastics. Anyway, he was like in fever. So Bhagavat Das understood this old man, what is happening? He asked him to sit down somewhere and he said, what's happening to you? What's going on? You are having a shock or what? He said, no, yoga is not gymnastics. This is Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And how come you have it in your book? So then he said, just take it cool. He opened the first page. He said, this is my Guru Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Swami, Prabhupada. And he looked at the book. Abhay Babu, when did you take sannyas? He didn't know any information. He took sannyas. He went to America and he made his son. And they are opening a branch in Bhubaneswar. They got a land. He was completely in darkness. Abhay Babu, when did you take sannyas? And then he said, you are his disciple. And he said, yes. And then he paid obeisances. Dol Govinda Shastri. So Bhagavat Das, he also paid obeisances. He's an elderly man and he's paying obeisances. And then when they got up, he embraced and everything. Then Bhagavat Das asked him, can I know your identification? Who are you? I'm a disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Then Bhagavat paid his obeisance. You're a disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going with you. And then they spent a whole day there, taking prasadam in his house, seeing his deities. And then Dol Govinda Shastri gave him descriptions of Prabhupada's various pastimes, like that. In this way, this movement has come in this planet as the Sankirtan wing, or the military wing of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when you have a military, so there is a war and there is fighting going on, so you don't expect at the end of the war everyone will come out with nicely ironed cloth with stars. And war means fighting. Fighting means killing and wounding and cutting of hands and legs and people falling and people flying and so many things will be there. So this is going on, but we must never stop hearing the pastimes of Krishna. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, his last words, he said, don't lose faith. And he said that so many may not be chanting Hare Krishna, and only maybe you are chanting Hare Krishna, but don't lose faith. And he said, we are following in the line of Rupa Raghunath. He said, do not lose faith and always chant the name of Krishna. By the mercy of Raghunath Goswami and Rupa Goswami, everything will one day or other become nice and everything will be settled and preaching will be wonderful. So we must go on hearing the pastimes of Krishna. We must go on visiting Mayapur and Vrindavan. We must not get some kind of a shake of faith like the monkeys had when they couldn't find Sita, which we will describe today. And they were going to seaside, seaside somewhere. And they were going to go somewhere else and find a nice secure place for nice sense gratification and living. But Hanuman preached to them, said don't do that. Said neither go to sense gratification nor put an end to your life. Putting end to life in spiritual life means losing faith. Then a spiritual life comes to a full stop. And then later the small semicolon and comma will come and we can start again. So we are seeing somebody is blooping and bloop people are coming back and people who are here they are blooping, some are planning to bloop. And this is going on. But what we have to know is that simply by listening to the pastimes of Krishna, we will conquer this problem. We will conquer any problem. And Hanuman, simply by describing the pastimes of Ramachandra, they conquered the problem. Actually, they were in a point where they want to commit suicide. Angada was putting the kusha grass and he said, I'm going to die. I can't find Sita. And the other monkey said, no. It's a nice place. You go and live there. It's very good. Security. Prabhu, I have to look after my security, Prabhu. So they were also talking of security. But all this security, what is your security? Security, you can't get security in the feet of Krishna. And who is going to protect you? So Hanuman chastised them that this is Maya, that you are taking shelter of stones. I see some devotees wearing stones in the fingers, in the neck, in the nose, sometime all over the head, maybe. It will all come now. This is nothing new in the way. This is called Vedic nonsense. Materialistic nonsense and Vedic nonsense. Take shelter of stone, take shelter of Bhubu, I don't know, so many things we take shelter of now. Only thing we won't take shelter of is Prabhupada. That's so funny. He is telling in this life you will go back home. One devotee was telling me today, some astrologer told me after 5 lifetimes I will go back home. So who is this crazy astrologer sitting on top of the head of Prabhupada? I don't understand. If I find him, I will slap him. Certainly I will slap him. Who are you to say? When a soul goes back home, who knows? And Prabhupada says we go back home in this life. And why we should think we will go back home after 6 lives? So Hanuman got so upset and he was chastising Angada. He was chastising the rest of the monkeys. What are you trying to do? You want to end your life in a such impressive way. Or then you want to go for some security. You can say this is nothing new. This is exactly what happened. They were on a mission for Ramachandra, for preaching, the great preaching mission. What is the preaching mission? They have to find Sita and then come back with that information. It's a big traveling Sankirtan. 30,000 monkeys went. 30,000 monkeys. If you take the whole ISKCON devotee group, we may not be 30,000 now. Of course, press conference we say so many things. I just said in South India, we have about 40,000 full-timers in Asia. And, anyway, doesn't mean anything. Of course, they also see so many devotees. They don't know they are the same devotees. Go to Bombay, huge big program. Where are you from? Switzerland, they're from Africa. And after 1 week they go to Delhi and then in the international book fair they see 30 devotees doing Sankirtan. Where are you from? Yugoslavia. Oh my God, this is kind of so big. Actually, It's like I went on a South Indian tour and North Indian tour. I saw this devotee everywhere. I saw him in Bangalore railway station bus stop. I saw him in Madras. I saw him in Bangalore. I saw him in Delhi. I see him here. It's just I'm one. It's not so many. It seems to be a very small world of devotees. So we are not so many. But there were 30,000 only towards the south. And there were 80,000 monkeys towards north. And because east and west, you don't need so much. So there were 10,000 each. And the greatest corporals and generals of Sugriva, they were ordained to go. And they were told not to come back unless they find Sita. But unfortunately, all the other groups, they came back. The north, the east, and the west. But the south, they were still going. Hanuman, Jambavan, Angada, and Nila, they were the great leaders of that group. And we have discussed the Hanuman's appearance and his some activities we have known. And Angada, we will discuss during this story. And Jambavan is a very interesting personality. I'm just highlighting on certain characters only and describing some patterns because we can't finish whole Ramayana in 9 days. And I don't want to repeat the same stories which usually everyone hears. So Jambavan, he is the oldest created being in the creation, apart from Brahma. After Brahma, when Brahma was thinking of making the creation and he had the vision of the Lord shook hands with him and he gave him the information of Bhagavatam. Ahameva sameva agre. I am before everything and I am after everything. And then Brahma was contemplating to create and he was thinking how great is this creation and how I am going to do it. He was thinking like that. At the meantime, the Garbhodakasai Vishnu, he is lying down on the snake and from his ear some kind of a drop of water from both ears came out. 2 drops of water sweat. And 1 drop became Madhu, very great demon. Another drop became Kaitava, another great demon. Madhu and Kaitava, they came and met together, they shook hands. And they looked back and they saw Vishnu. They said, we must finish this. This is called a demon. You take shelter of something, or you exist because of something. You come out of something. And as soon as you come out of it, you finish it. That's called a Rakshasa. So this Rakshasa mentality of Madhu and Kaitava created a bad atmosphere and Brahma started sweating. And the sweat came from his 4 faces and it was going down up to his loins. First Vishnu, he got up and then he looked at Madhu and Kaitava and he said, oh great personalities, Madhu and Kaitava, please give me a benediction. So they said, oh it is very easy, he is surrendering to us. So they asked Vishnu, do you know who we are? Oh, I know, yes, great, Madhu and Kaitava, the supreme powerful person. So what benediction you want, Vishnu? So Vishnu said, this is a time when I have to get benediction. So he said, alright, you give me a benediction that I will fight with you. So he said, oh, you want a fight? Oh, that is what we are expecting too. Now it is more prestigious for us because it is our benediction. You can fight with us. But one thing, if you think that you want to kill us, you can kill us in a place where there is no earth, where there is no water, there is no air, there is no fire, there is no ether, there is no mind, there is no intelligence, there is no ego. You can kill us.